The big news is the CM Punk Jack Perry backstage fight was aired. I'm very sorry. Just before we go to it, I'm not showing the video of this because Don
Stevens. Sued for it.
Yeah, well, exactly. Don Stevens and Aubrey Edwards, right, which are the same person, have been copyright claiming people on Twitter for reposting the footage that they aired on AEW Dynamite for all to see. So even though we would have the right and any copyright claim I would win, it's just not worth the hassle to re-show it, because I'd like to go in forensic detail, but I'm sorry, we're not going to show it just because it's such a hassle. You watched it. What did you see?
Well, I think it backfired in Tony's face. It backfired in AEW's face and all of their faces, because what CM Punk has been saying for months and months and months is what I saw. And nobody swung first. I don't think there was any swinging there at the beginning. It was just that CM Punk grabbed him for being a smartass. I can see that. And then said, "Get the hell away from me." And Samoa Joe moved in to separate them, as he said. And then at the end, I think he went back around the corner where the go position was, or the people they control the show, to where Tony was, and said something to him there that took less than 10 seconds. And then he came back around. I don't see the big deal about this. What did the Bucks say about it?
Well, they were trying to weave it into the story on AEW Dynamite that the Bucks were not in their right frame of mind when they lost to FTR later that evening. So they're weaving the work and the reality into it. So they're saying that, well, we lost to FTR because we had to put our EVP hats on and we were dealing with the backstage situation with CM Punk, and that was their sort of justification for Tony Khan airing this video. Just so happened to be after CM Punk on the MMA Hour talks about more or less exactly what happened anyway. Tony Khan actually explained his decision to air the video maybe last week. I didn't get a date on this. After previously admitting he wanted to broadcast the security footage as early as late last year, by saying the decision is based on putting on the best show for AEW, as well as driving interest for Dynamite and our Dynasty pay-per-view on April 21st. Said Khan, "This is real-life footage that affected many people and it will air it for the first time on TBS during Dynamite." Which is a load of crap. He aired it because he was butthurt for one reason or another.
Well, that's all he's got, is that. And he has a reasoning for it. It doesn't really fit on inspection. It doesn't fit what he said. But not anything good comes out of this. It's already between Punk. Punk is gone. He's done high-skied it out of town. And the Bucks are talking about FTR trying to tie them in it, but there's nothing there to do it. See, the story is loose. Very, very loose.
Specious.
Oh, I like that. And there's nothing there. So I'm looking at it without sound, and I'm saying, and the crowd was, I heard the crowd looking at it without sound, and they were just sitting there. I think Punk is the babyface. I think they cheered him. And now that is a prime example of a company or a boss knee-jerking. He wanted to play this 9 months ago or whenever it was, but he didn't. Now, there's a reason he didn't play it, because it don't show nothing. And I'm sure somebody told him that, and it just didn't work out. Now, what is the lawsuit that they can be sued for showing that?
No, they can't. So no one signed a non-disclosure agreement for this. The lawsuit stems from the brawl-out thing with CM Punk and the Young Bucks. So no one signed any non-disclosure agreements for this, and apparently it's legal to show it. It's within the public interest, I guess. But I watched it and I was like, was that it?
This is it? and he showed it on TV. What are the comments today are they having on that showing?
Well, do you know, I've been looking at various people's comments on Twitter to try and gauge. Some people are seeing what they want to see, saying, this proves that CM Punk's a liar. It basically proves there's one bit towards the end that is up for debate. I'll tell you what, right? And I'll go through that in a minute with you, and then you can tell me what you saw, if you think you saw it differently. Very briefly beforehand, did you see the face of Tony Schiavone before they threw to the video?
Yes, I did. I did.
What do you think?
Oh, yeah, it was like, he knows you don't bring this up. This is in-house dirt that if you show it to your neighbor or across the street, they're gonna look at you like you're the one that's damn causing all the problems, not CM Punk. And it backfired, in my opinion. It backfired on Tony, backfired on AEW. And I know Tony. Tony's a good guy, but he saw no purpose in this and no benefit of it. And his face reflected that desire.
Yeah. So we'll go through the entire thing. I'm sorry I have to do it verbally rather than show it. I'd love to show it anyway. The Young Bucks introduced the footage by saying Jack Perry is lovable, and the other guy, CM Punk, may have been put up to attacking Perry by FTR. So they are trying to at least weave some sort of story. No one's buying it, of course. So they're trying to do it that way. And then the Bucks.
Wait, they said that Punk should be what?
Oh, they said that maybe Punk was put up by FTR to attack Perry to get in the heads of the Young Bucks, kind of thing. I mean, as I say, it's real.
That's the Young Bucks making them more important than they really are.
Yes. So, Bucks lose to FTR. I've already said this. So, the Bucks also describe it within the preview of this video as a high school scrap, which it basically is. I mean, anyone who's been to high school has seen better fights than this.
Hell is not that damn highly elevated. It's not even that.
So, here are the notes from the video. Samoa Joe, Hook, Don Stevens, Jerry Lynn, among others, are in the back. There's TV monitors to the right of shot. With Tony Khan, I think Chris Hero is sat at Gorilla. He's wearing the pink T-shirt that he comes out towards the end. CM Punk walks into shot and talks with Perry, who's not really saying too much, but his hands are on his hips. And then he's tousling and messing with his hair. A couple of people wander toward Punk and Perry just to stand close and, just a couple of people realising something might happen straight away. Jack tousles his hair one more time and says something to Punk. Punk then shoves Perry with, I believe, one hand, maybe his left, and then he snatches Perry's head with both hands straight in for an attempted guillotine, whether he actually choked him or not, or just attempted to. That's not quite sure. But anyway, a referee's trying to break it up, and then Samoa Joe comes over. Samoa Joe is pacing back and forth to the left. As soon as he sees it, he dives straight in. Samoa Joe grabs Perry while talking to... but he's also talking to Punk at the same time. And Joe either wrenches Perry free or convinces Punk to let go, maybe both. So that's the only bone of contention that I can see, is that some say that Samoa Joe saved Perry, others say Punk suggested that Samoa Joe told him to stop and Punk did. So of those two theories, did you think Samoa Joe talked Perry out of it, or he physically rescued him?
Said he talked Punk out of it.
Yeah, well, he's sort of doing both at the same time.
Well, I think it happened so quick. I think he put his hand in there and he's trying to say, come on. If he'd tried to do it, he may have intervened further. Wait a minute, where'd my deal go here? Open. Is that it?
Yeah,
there it is.
You can still hear me.
I lose myself all the time when I do that. But yeah, it was a nothing burger. Nothing. Nothing happened. And if he'd have wanted to hurt him, he could have hurt him badly. Well, if he'd have got that, what they call a front chancellery, and he went south on it, he could have broke his neck if he wanted to.
Yeah, well, let me tell you this, right? So, Punk has said, I'll get to the rest of the notes in a minute. Punk has said, I thought it was doing the professional thing by choking him out, which is also a silly comment. That's not the professional thing to do.
Professional thing.
Yeah, no, but
I do like that comment. I was doing the professional thing by not kicking his ass.
Yeah. So the thing is that the one thing that Punk could have done, and even though he was, the worst UFC fighter of all time, he's still trained. He had time to shove him. He had time to grab his head with both hands and wrench him down, which means he had more than enough time to just punch him in the face.
Yeah.
So he didn't punch him in the face and break his nose. He
didn't want to punch him.
Yeah.
Or he would have punched him. And I think by him punching, he would be the instigator. He'd be the asshole.
I mean, he still is.
But if he had a punched him and they went and they sued him for assault, where was this, in London when this happened?
Yeah.
If they'd have went in front of a magistrate or whatever you call one of those judges, you know what the judge would have done? Get the hell out of here.
Misdemeanor. Well, you would say misdemeanor.
No, it wouldn't be a misdemeanor. It's wrestling. He says, get the hell out of here. I'm not even lowering the standards of my court by even ruling on this. You do this all the time. Why don't you go now to every magistrate you come across and file these charges? He said, case dismissed, bam, send them out.
Yeah. It would have gone under common assault, which is basically the worst you're going to get is you're going to spend an evening in jail and then let out and then given community service or something. You're not going to get much for anything like that. So.
Well, they wouldn't even got that.
Oh, no. They would have.
To me, they would have got a dismissed case, period. Get out.
So, as the combatants are separated, monitors are disturbed, and then Tony Khan reaches over to straighten them. You can actually see his arm and his head, I think, anyway. And then Punk then goes to Khan's direction and what looks to be pointing and yelling at Khan before yelling something to Perry. Now, this would be the thing where Punk said, you're a clown, you're whatever, this is a joke.
It's a clown show.
Yeah. Punk walks off with Malachi Black and Chris Hero, and as Jerry Lynn checks on Tony Khan. Or I might have got that backwards, I don't know. Anyway, the only thing I can't tell is if Punk... Now, when they're separating in the fight, I don't know if CM Punk is trying to swing for Jack Perry after Samoa Joe pulls Jack Perry away, or he's basically pointing at him like that. And the reason I'm not sure about this, some people say, well, he's punching him. CM Punk was stepping backwards at the time. You don't punch someone when you go backwards.
If you have a problem identifying what he was trying to do, a judge would have the same problem.
You'd err on the side of caution, of course.
Yeah, and it's something that happened that should have happened. So I'm not involving the court in it because they got other important things to do.
Where's the benefit to AEW in all this? Is there any?
None. Got their name out there a little bit, but they got their name out there in such a way that nobody even wants to hear about them.
With, it shows CM Punk being a dick. I mean, he did instigate the fight. I mean, physically at least. We don't know what Perry said. He obviously said something. But, I mean, pretty much everyone believed that this is how it happened anyway, and all this does is just reaffirm their opinions of CM Punk or Jack Perry anyway. It's just not swayed anyone.
No, it hasn't swayed me. Well, I think Punk was already pissed off by the way he was being treated, and he thinks that they weren't listening to him after they give him this gaga. We're going to do all this stuff. And it was my impression, that they even got the show on what other network did it got? Disney?
Oh, no.
Warner Brothers?
No, it's TBS and TNT Collision.
Okay.
It's still within the Warner.
Is it because of Punk? And yet at the same time, I think, this is what I think. I think the Bucks, they were resenting him. And the rest of them were resenting him, and he started resenting. It may have been double resentment time, but he got tired of dealing with it. But by the same token, CM Punk he's not an idiot. He had already laid plans for his WWE reintroduction, and he had to be pretty sure about that, and that's why he did it. So I don't think it's hurt him at all. I don't think it really hurt AEW. I don't think anybody has, you could have a lesser viewpoint on AEW now than you did. But I don't. It's just they don't know what they're doing. I actually kind of feel sorry for them because they're in waters they don't know, and they don't even know how to swim.
If they get a good television rating, does it mean anything?
It might mean that they want to see that if they got a good television rating at all. That's just to see what they did. It's not up yet, is it?
Oh, it's been on Twitter and stuff.
No,
it was yesterday.
But the rating.
Oh, the rating. No. This we record this on a Thursday afternoon in my case. I think it's Thursday afternoon or evening in your time zone when it comes out, so it'll be too late for us to know.
Too late or too early? It should be out here.
We're too early. It'll come out in a few hours after we stop recording. At which point was Tony Khan meant to be scared for his life?
That baffles me. That wasn't the way I was raised. If a guy was coming at me, I don't give a crap how big he is or how bad he is. He's not going to scare me into fearing for my life. He might scare me that he beat my ass, but still, I would defend myself. You have to. I don't care. See, Tony grew up in a sheltered environment, highly sheltered, because when your dad's a millionaire and he's got all these things going on all over the world, and Tony, you can tell by looking at him, he grew up pampered as hell, got everything he wanted. And how old is Tony?
Early 40s, I think, 40, 41.
Has he ever been married?
I don't think so. I don't think he's married, no.
Does he have a girlfriend?
I've not read his diary. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
you can tell a lot by that because of how he's lived his life. So I don't know, but I would not have admitted that I was scared for my life.
There's I'm just trying to look at his Wikipedia, say if he's married or not. I can't tell. There's also a bit.
Okay, if you look at his Wikipedia page and you can't tell that he's married, he's not married.
No. Let me just check. No.
Is that a pretty good assumption?
I think it's a fairly good assumption. I don't think he's married. But if I was a billionaire, I'd be porking away for the rest of my life. It'd be great. Wouldn't, well.
I mean, I find him a very interesting person, Tony. But I think he got into a business that he doesn't realize is a business, and he doesn't realize how much backstabbing goes on behind his back. And he has just cloaked himself in this owning a wrestling company and dealing with the networks. But yet, how many people you know that is the head of a company, a wrestling company, and still does the booking of it by himself, kind of? Vince had help. Vince had people helping him all these years. Years ago, Pat Patterson and all those guys were right underneath Vince. But now he's trying, and Pat Patterson had a lot more experience than any of these guys have. See, booking is an art form. And I'm totally aware that what works now works then doesn't work now. But you have to clip it, you have to carve it, you got to shape it and mold it to where it works. Now I'm watching The Rock. He is a believer, and I think Triple H too. And tell him the story and let the time build. And they don't have to work angles every week. Their angles at work now, they'll take the strongest angle they have and really put some steam on it. And then they can run for another 6 months. This is the way you want a wrestling booking committee to work like this. Because I went in there on booking committees and sat down and say I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do, because all the other guys, and sometimes they'd be 10 people on it. Some people, sometimes 3. But even with 3, I had an idea where I wanted to go. But with 10, I didn't have a clue. Because I think if I had an idea and it went around the table, and I've done this, went around the table. When he come back to me, it was totally changed from the way it started.
Chinese whispers going around. And
yeah, because you went through 10 sources to get back to where you were even not close to. So that's another round around the table.
Also, keep in mind that Tony's booking himself with some help here and there, but he's the head booker while also being an executive for Fulham Football Club and Jacksonville Jaguars.
See, booking, you should have help with your main stuff. The other stuff really doesn't matter that much.
Well, he's just like, what did Dusty and JJ do? Dusty did the main events. JJ did everything else. Same with Kevin Sullivan later on.
And that's the way they did. But I always had my eye on the underneath guys saying, hey, I don't know when I might be able to have to bring this guy up. So I'm not going to kill him here. Might beat him. And let's look at a choice example from WWE style, Sami Zayn. How many weeks did he go that he got beat every week?
Many.
But still, he was over. He was over because he was with the bloodline, but he wasn't over because of his matches that he was winning, but he was so good you couldn't miss it. They at least didn't miss that on Sammy. And they got it right on him. Now we see that he's the Intercontinental Champion, having defeated Gunther, which is, if I had a bet, I would have lost my bet. I would have bet there's not a chance in hell that Sammy can beat Gunther. But it's not a bad thing. It is a good thing.
You sound like, who said that? That's not a bad thing.
That's
a good thing. No, it was another wrestler who said it as well. Anyway, I can't remember. It wasn't Dallas Page, was it? Yes, it was Dallas Page. It was Dallas Page. We're going to shut down this podcast. Just before I do, I just went on my Twitter, and AEW has told Bleacher Report to remove the CM Punk Jack Perry video. So I don't understand why AEW would show this footage.
Because they're getting roasted.
Well, of course they are. I mean, didn't Tony Khan was there fearing for his life the entire way through. He must have known what happened.
But he said that he threatened to air this 9 months ago.
Yeah.
Can Tony look at that and completely put the heat on CM Punk? Can he do that? Can he show that, tell what he sees and feel it, that the company's not going to side with him? They're going to side with CM Punk. And he's got I think that he has a bad public relations problem, because it's like a frat boy dormitory. You know, what's that movie they made about that? You remember?
Well, Animal something.
Animal House. I think it's the Wrestling Animal House. And they're just looking at Tony and saying, hey, only one guy can fix it, and that's you. Don't look at us. We're just hearing stuff. So he sued Bleacher. What is it?
Bleacher Report? Bleacher Report. He didn't sue them. He's DM.
Well, that's the next thing from it.
Yeah, a copyright takedown notice
to take it down, and YouTube would take it down anyway, right?
Oh God, they would. That is exactly why I didn't post it on this podcast. Okay, it just wasn't worth the aggro.
Here's a question: if they take it down, do they take the whole show down?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
So that's why it's just not worth the aggro. So
no, it's not.
So basically, there's one more thing I forgot to mention about that. Apparently, there may have been a second incident where CM Punk then lunged after Tony Khan after that video that we saw. So I don't know why they didn't show that video, because now everybody.
Well, but that has to be a camera shot from another direction, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it didn't show.
I was seeing it this way. I was seeing it straight ahead of me, and it was like the guys were going, and where Tony was behind a wall on the right-hand side that was hidden. And the Punk, you could see him talking, and Punk was, the little kid was facing my way. Punk was facing the other way, and all of a sudden, you could see an expression on Jungle Boy's face, and all of a sudden, boom. Or push, and then they went down, then they separated them. Then Punk left and then kind of went back and said something to Tony Khan there. So I couldn't tell what was said or what was done. But if it went to a jury trial, CM Punk's in the free.
Oh, it never would go to a jury trial.